How am I going to top those two presentations? Oh my God. At least there was a public speaking one, and I was going to start with, my name is Micheal, I'm a product manager, but I'm going to start with, my name is Micheal, I'm a musician, I'm a movie lover, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and all those good things, right? But I will talk but I will talk about my role a little bit, because I started in this company, F5, as a sales engineer, where I worked as a technical resource for the sales team to, sell the products. After a couple of years, I moved to customer success. I spent a couple of years in customer success as a post-sale engineer or architect, whatever you want to call it. But about a year ago, I moved from customer success to product. So I'm a product manager now. And I've been learning a lot over the last 12 months, and I feel like, it might be important to share my experience with customer success people and recruiters too, of course. And, I was trying to figure out when Lucy asked me to present, what can I talk about? I'm not in CS anymore, but CS is very, very important for product teams. So there's plenty of things to talk about. Now, something funny first. I'm not going to talk about AI, I promise. But I did use AI to help with the deck. I was like, please generate some stock images, please. And I asked to generate an image of a bunch of product managers having a good time at work. So as you can see, this guy's got an arm going out of his back. I have no idea what. So that was a bit of a disaster. It was a terrible start to my presentation. So I asked it to try again, and then all of a sudden, it generated two of the same person. So it was a bit of a disaster. But Microsoft Copilot's actually a lot better for generating slides, just an FYI. Now, question for the audience. Who here works with product managers in your role today? A lot of you, all right, okay. Yeah, so a lot of people think product managers are just people who say no to stuff. No, we're not going to build that feature, no. But we do a lot of things, right? So there's a list of 5 here, but there's a lot more I can think of. But obviously, we're responsible for the vision of the product that we're working on. And that's essentially, what does the product look like in 1 year, 2 years, or even 5 years? And that's a challenging thing to do, especially if your product isn't mature. But on top of that, we have to prioritize features based on customer feedback, data points that we receive, and build the roadmap, which is all we talk about. Everything is the roadmap. What's on the roadmap? We work with pretty much every single team I can think of. Customer success, sales, marketing, engineering, support. They all want to speak to the product manager to get something fixed or something added to the product. So it can be stressful at times, but yeah, there's a lot of cross-team collaboration there. All of the decisions that product managers make are data-driven. And I have a slide later about ideas that we all might have for the product, but they're just ideas. They don't really mean anything else other than, oh, that's a great idea. So yeah, we need to rely on data to make very important decisions on where the roadmap is going. And then of course, the now versus next. Do we work on quick wins to help certain customers who are spending a lot of money? Or do we work on long-term strategies for the product? So what shapes the roadmap, right? We get all of this noise, I'm going to call it noise, because it's noise at first, from the likes of customer success, sales, support, marketing. PM leadership is one that we don't really think about too often, but that's actually a big one. We might have a product roadmap that we need to work on, but there might be goals that come from the top down that we need to include in our roadmap. You need to make sure that you get X number of customers doing this with our products. And that might be more important than what a large customer is telling us about a bug or a feature request. So all those things are kind of influence the roadmap. But another question for the audience. Who do you think screams the loudest in this group? Sales. Yeah, spot on. Yeah, sales drive us crazy sometimes because they keep telling us, oh, we have a big deal in the pipeline, and if you add this feature to the product, we might make $1 million. You add the feature, and it doesn't happen. But anyway, customer success, right? There's a lot of CSMs here, and I've spent some time in customer success myself. Customer success is very, very important to product teams because customer success, essentially, they filter down product feedback, and they're the voice of the customer to the product teams. I have another slide later about what the purpose of a business is, but essentially what we're saying is that a purpose of a business is to retain customers. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. And that's why customer success is so important, to have collaborating with the product teams and any other teams within the organization. Now, the problem is, how do we balance feedback coming from customer success and feedback coming from sales, feedback coming from an angry customer via support cases and all of that? So we have some techniques we use. This is my personal favorite one. It's called RICE. It's an easy one to remember. I remember doing the interview for this role. I was like, I'll probably ask me about RICE. So all requests are noise. Everything that you get from anyone regarding the product is noise. And we don't consider them important until we kind of clarify them and get more context to them. So RICE is one that I like, because we have to look at feature requests and assign, the reach, the impact, the confidence, and the effort. So I'll give you an example. Let's assume that you have a massive bug in the product, and if you fix the bug, it would keep 10% of your customers happy, right? What if you had a huge feature request from a customer spending $10 million on the product? Which one would you prioritize first? So customer success helps with this, because customer success can help with the reach and the impact part of that. But it's a good example, because obviously the reach for the 10% bug is much larger than the impact of that one customer. So the chances are that the score you might get for that 10% might be higher, and therefore you prioritize that work. So that's just one example, but that's why the data that we get from all the teams is so vital. And this is the one that I learned a lot over the last year, is that you might have some great ideas for a product. We should build a menu here, or we should add AI to the product. Everyone's doing AI. Or we can add a cool new module for the product that everyone will love. Chances are those ideas aren't really worth the investment, usually. We have no data to back them up. They're just ideas. We get ideas from every single person in the organization of what the product should be. But if you have no data, then it's not really feasible. So I've been disappointed a lot with that, but that's just the reality. I think I answered this already, so I kind of ruined this. What is the purpose of a business?
Solve a problem.
No, a purpose of a business is to attract and retain customers. You can't make money without customers. So as PMs, we need to work with customer success professionals, to collectively and responsibly focus on our existing customer base to ensure that they keep using our products and we keep selling the products to more customers. Steve Jobs actually said this, and I'm not one to quote Steve Jobs, but what makes you successful? I just build great products. That was the answer. So we build great products, we fix bugs, we build relationships with customers, we work with customer success teams, we work with any other person who's working on that customer to be a customer advocate. And of course, we need customer success's help to provide us context to these features and data points that we're getting. It's easy to say, there's a bug here. But it'd be nice to know if, we've been working with this customer for the last year. They have had calls with this person and that person. They've raised support cases back then. But they're a loyal customer. They've been spending money with us for the last 5 years. They really like our products, but they're having a really tough time with this new bug that they discovered and all this. That really helps build a case to add a feature to the product, because it's more data, more context. So some tips. I think this is my last slide. Yeah, so it's nice and short, I think. But some of the things that PMs and CS teams need to do to kind of improve the collaboration is we need to be sharing roadmap a lot more with our customer success teams and our sales teams. Because we need feedback from the roadmap, and when we get feedback from the roadmap, that's another data point that we can use. So partnering up with customer success, because they are the voice of the customer, is absolutely key. Data is key. Data is king, sorry. We can't make decisions without data. We tried it, failed. Customers don't like it. So we need data. I don't know if any of you are using specific customer success tools today, like Gainsight or anything like that. What customer success tools do you use? Gainsight? Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So those are the kind of tools that we need access to as well, to kind of analyze what customers are looking at, if they're using certain features of the product and all of that. So very valuable. But we should be celebrating wins together as product managers and customer success managers. Yeah, but don't wait for the fire. Build a relationship with the PM and vice versa. All right. Thank you very much. Any questions?